What if I told you UConn just went 38-1, had the best player in the country, and somehow left Phoenix with more questions than answers? Not just who missed shots. I'm talking who's gone, who's staying, who's coming in, and whether the UConn way can still win big in the portal era. Because after a 54-game streak ended, the Huskies aren't reloading quietly. They're walking straight into the biggest identity test of the Geno era.
Prime Field!
Welcome back to Prime Field. Today is not filler. This is the real offseason debate. Is UConn still built to win a title in 2026-27? Or did Phoenix expose a roster formula that no longer works? Here's the roadmap. First, we're hitting who leaves, and why Azzi Fudd's exit changes everything. Then, who stays, because Serah Strong might already be the most important player in college basketball. After that, who joins, including the two names that could completely reshape this team. And finally, the big one. Does Gino need the portal more than he wants to admit? Let's start with the obvious pain point. Azzi Fudd leaving for the WNBA draft is not just UConn loses 17 points per game. That's too simple. Fudd averaged 17.3 points, knocked down 117 threes, and shot 44.7% from deep this past season. That is not normal production. That is defensive gravity. That is one defender glued to her, another defender cheating toward her, and driving lanes opening for everybody else, especially Serah Strong. And here's why fans should care. You can replace volume. You don't casually replace 44% three-point shooting with star-level fear factor. In the Final Four, when South Carolina blanketed UConn's shooters and the offense crashed it to 48 points on 31.1% shooting, the biggest thing missing was a second answer. Not just another scorer defenses panic about. Then there's Serah Williams. Her numbers, 6.7 points, 4.4 boards. Don't jump off the page, but her role absolutely mattered. She gave UConn a physical front-court presence and secondary rim protection that let Serah Strong roam and create. If Williams is out, that's not just a front-court vacancy. That's more pressure on Strong to be everything everywhere all at once. And Caroline Ducharme's exit, even in a limited role late, that's still one more veteran voice gone from the room. So yes, UConn clears space, but it also loses experience, spacing, and some emotional maturity. So here's the first debate question. Did UConn lose too much shot making to stay elite next year, or is this exactly the kind of reset that unlocks a more balanced offense? Because if you're arguing UConn stays in the title tier, your argument starts with one name. Serah Strong is why UConn is still terrifying. Period. She led the team in points, rebounds, blocks, and steals, 18.4, 7.7, 1.6, and 3.4 a game, while putting up absurd efficiency splits. 58.2% from the field, 40.4% from three, 83.3% at the line. That's not just star production, that's best player in America production. The entire 2026-27 season is a referendum on this one idea. Can Serah Strong be so dominant that she covers for everything UConn lost? Because here's what makes this fascinating. She's not just a scorer, she's a matchup breaker. She can run offense like a point forward, score inside, stretch the floor, defend multiple spots, and create chaos with steals. UConn's whole identity next year can be built around her versatility. But there's a second layer here, leadership. The next jump is not just basketball, it's command. Can she become the voice of the team the way some past superstars became the voice of the program? Now the veterans around her matter. KK Arnold returns as the senior floor general with 174 assists, a ridiculous 4.05 assist-to-turnover ratio, and 102 steals. If you value pace control, point-of-attack defense, and experience, you want Arnold starting at point guard on day one. Ashlyn Shade is the other swing piece. She hit 1,000 career points, she defends, and if her three-point shot returns closer to that sophomore-level efficiency, suddenly UConn's spacing issues look a lot less scary. And then, maybe the most exciting name for fans, Blanca Quinones. She averaged 10.7 points on 53.6% shooting off the bench, and then exploded for 20 in the Elite Eight. This is the breakout pick. If you want the optimistic version of next season, it includes Quinones becoming a full-time starter and giving UConn downhill scoring they didn't consistently have outside of Strong. So let me throw gasoline on it. Would you rather have Azzi's elite shooting back or Blanca's rise plus a bigger, tougher front court? This is the part fans are absolutely going to argue about in the comments. KK Arnold versus Kaylee Heckel for point guard juice. Arnold is the steady hand. Heckel is the spark. Heckel shot 53.9% from the field and brought that all-out energy off the bench. If UConn is trying to replace Fudd's scoring punch, there's a real argument that Heckel deserves more on-ball responsibility because she gives the offense a little more chaos, in a good way. But if you start Heckel, are you sacrificing the structure that makes UConn UConn? That's the tension. Arnold organizes, Heckel pressures, Arnold stabilizes, Heckel disrupts. I think Gino opens with Arnold, but if the offensiveness gets sticky again, that debate is coming back fast. Now let's touch the hottest word in the fan base after Phoenix soft. Some fans and analysts looked at that South Carolina loss and said UConn got punked. That the beautiful spacing and skill version of UConn basketball can look amazing for 5 months and still get swallowed by physical teams in April. So is the criticism fair? Kind of. I wouldn't call them soft as much as I'd call them too dependent on finesse surviving against size, and that's exactly why the next names matter so much. UConn did not randomly recruit this next class. These moves feel targeted. First up, Olivia Vicosa. She's 6'5", ranked the #1 center and #4 overall recruit in the class, and honestly, her timing could not be more obvious. UConn just got bullied inside by elite size, lost Serah Williams, and now brings in a true interior piece with legit rim protection and post upside. This is not subtle, this is roster correction. The question is whether a freshman big can be ready immediately for Final Four or bust expectations. Gino has historically been patient with post players, but UConn fans are not going to be patient if Vicosa looks like the answer on paper, but not in April. Then there's Jovana Popovic, and this is where things get really interesting. She's not arriving as a normal freshman prospect. She comes in as the Serbian First League MVP and best shooter, with senior national team experience. That screams one thing: ready-made shot creation. UConn didn't just lose Azzi's shooting, they lost someone who could bend a defense. Popovic is being brought in to help restore that threat, maybe not in the same style, but in the same strategic space. And when you zoom out, there's a clear theme. UConn is getting more international, more skilled, and more intentional about bringing in polished players, not just prospects. It looks like Gino is trying to blend classic development with more mature pro-style basketball backgrounds. But here's the elephant in the room, the portal. Ayanna Patterson is already out, which opens a scholarship and basically tells us the roster churn is real. UConn has room. The portal window is short, and the rest of the sport is going all in. UCLA just showed you can absolutely build a title roster through transfers. So if Gino still refuses to fully engage, is that principle or stubbornness? Be honest. Would you trust a freshman center and an international newcomer to replace what UConn just lost? Or do you need one proven portal dog before calling this a title team? Here's my prediction. UConn will open next season as a top 4 team, maybe top 3, and they absolutely have Final Four talent. The projected lineup of KK Arnold, Ashlyn Shade, Blanca Quinones, Sarah Strong, and Olivia Vicosa makes sense on paper and gives them more balance than people realize. But title favorite? Not yet. My cliffhanger for the offseason is simple. This season will be decided by whether Gino adapts before the sport leaves him no choice. He's openly criticized the portal era and the economics around it, while other powers are building super teams. That tension is now the UConn story. Not just who can score, not just who can rebound. Can the Huskies still build a champion the old way while everybody else is buying insurance through the portal? And one more thing. Don't sleep on this storyline. If UConn falls short again with Sarah Strong this good, the noise around Gino's long-term future gets louder. That doesn't mean it happens. It means the debate gets real. So now I'm turning this over to you. Who's the biggest loss? Azzi Fudd shooting, Serah Williams' physicality, or the veteran presence overall? And bigger picture, does UConn need to attack the portal right now, or should Gino double down on development around Sarah Strong? Drop your takes in the comments, hit subscribe if you want more real UConn debates instead of recycled headlines, and share this with the one Huskies fan in your group chat who still thinks they'll be fine. Explains everything. Now, what matters most for UConn's 2026-27 title chances? Sarah Strong reaching another level, Blanca Quinones' breakout, Olivia Vicosa being ready immediately, adding one more portal player.
Prime Field.